Nickelodeon has featured family-friendly content for years, but there are many instances where jokes got slipped in. Gags featured mature references and children got sent the wrong message. From Are You Afraid of the Dark to SpongeBob, see some of the craziest times Nick shows took things way too far. Before you watch, click subscribe. You'll join our notification squad and be the first to know of new content from Screen Rant. And can you guess which movie is represented by these emoji? Stay tuned at the end to find out. Are you afraid of the dark? There's nothing wrong with a good scare for children, and a majority of the time Nick's Are You Afraid of the Dark supplied some great ones. The anthology series felt like the Twilight Zone for kids, and each episode packed just enough scares without pushing the limits too far. Well, there are two exceptions to this. The show was supposed to be scary, but it shouldn't ever conjure nightmares for the rest of your life. First up is The Tale of the Dead Man's Float. You'll never look at a swimming pool the same way again after seeing this nightmare of a show. A couple kids go to their school swimming pool only to witness some type of crazy swamp monster swimming in the depths below. The monster and some of the intense swimming scenes actually rival the original Jaws. Once you've avoided the water long enough, you'll probably want to stay away from carnivals, circuses, and amusement parks, all thanks to the episode titled The Tale of Laughing in the Dark. Using the common fear of clowns, Are You Afraid of the Dark's Zebo goes out for revenge when a young punk steals his red nose. The crazy scares that follow feel like a small screen version of Stephen King's It, and we're all still spooked seeing Zebo's scary face.
Ever since Natasha, my alligator snapping turtle, left me, I've got this hole in my heart. Also this hole in my pants.
Mr. Crocker goes nude. The Fairly Oddparents is fast-paced, stuffed with animation, and has the ability to get away with all types of jokes. One episode may have pushed these jokes a little too far. Just seeing the title alone is enough to raise some questions. The episode we're referencing is simply called Croc Blocked. How the title alone made it past Nickelodeon's censors is beyond us. We guess by season 9, Nick gave the show free reign to whatever it wanted. Once you get past the overly sexual reference in the title, things don't get much better as the episode plays out. Timmy wishes for his teacher, Mr. Crocker, to disappear. The result of the wish turns him invisible, as he wreaks all kinds of havoc in his life. Timmy then reverses the wish, but Mr. Crocker doesn't realize it. Deciding not to wear any clothes because he enjoyed the freedom of being invisible, Mr. Crocker roams the school completely naked and in front of children. We've had enough real-life teacher and student controversies to see this one went a little bit too far. An apple not so subtly blocks his private area, although they show enough details within his hairy chest to have seen too much. Welcome to O-Town. Rocko's Modern Life probably should have debuted on Comedy Central or Adult Swim instead of Nickelodeon. The content, innuendo, and adult jokes were far more suited to air alongside shows like South Park and Rick and Morty. Of course, Nickelodeon was one of the few animation outlets available in the early 90s, and this is where the show made its premiere. The show took risks right out of the gate with stories about adultery, ringworm, and questionable doctor's visits. Rocko's whole town is basically one big adult joke with adult references. In one episode, the characters visit the No-Tell Motel, a scene which was cut from future broadcasts. The name of the common fast food restaurant is known as the Choky Chicken. Yikes! Even the doctor that Rocko visits is named the not-so-subtle Dr. Bendova. The doctor even sticks his hand up Rocko's pants and has him cough multiple times. This is Saturday morning cartoon content right here. Even the name of the city O-Town could be taken as an adult reference. Rewatching the show as an adult presents dozens of more jokes and a lot of content that just passed over your head as a child. The show never simply about a happy wallaby and adventures with his friends.
I'm over it. He's no longer my muse. I don't love Arnold.
Helga's Diary. The classic Nicktoon Hey Arnold may have had the young boy's name in the title. Many people could argue that Helga was actually the main character. We saw several stories from her perspective, she delivered multiple monologues, and we got to see her home life. Several of the scenes in Helga's home took place in her room where a hidden shrine was dedicated to the football head crush she pined for while actually treating him terribly in person. As if the shrine to Arnold wasn't enough, the character decided to read from her secret diary in one episode. While swooning over Arnold, she delivers one of the most inappropriate lines in Nick history by saying he makes her girlhood tremble. And for children who didn't hear it correctly, don't worry. A parrot decides to repeat the line multiple times.
Arnold, you make my girlhood tremble.
You make my girlhood tremble?
For someone who's supposed to be around 9 years old, the last thing any of us want to hear about is her girlhood trembling. Imagine all the poor parents who had to answer questions after seeing this scene. What's a girlhood? How does it tremble? Am I supposed to have a shrine to my crush? How was Arnold born with a football-shaped head? Well, good luck answering those questions.
And I can touch my nose with my tongue. Well, with my paw.
Boy, that's hard to look at.
Dog dropping pants. There's no denying anyone who sat through the Nicktoon CatDog was probably grossed out at some point or another. The whole idea of a cat and dog sharing the same body led to all kinds of gross out humor, crazy gags, and some pretty insane plots. In the episode where CatDog works at a restaurant, the content was a little more tame than others, but children may have picked up on a joke involving nudity, a swear, and some sly ways to rhyme that swear with other familiar words. As CatDog works with the greaser dogs in the kitchen, the boss bursts in and demands all the workers to show some class. In the same moment, Lube McDog begins to drop his pants, insinuating he heard a whole different word than class. We see his pants go down halfway and revealing a pair of boxers before the boss corrects him and says he said class. The moment is easy to catch on to, and children can only assume what Lube McDog meant. The moment was pretty obvious and makes you wonder how the joke got past Nick executives. The verbal puns may not seem like a lot, but when it mixes with everything else, you end up with a long list of moments.
No one beats the King of Dares.
Ned gets censored. The language on Nickelodeon is typically clean, as shows try to avoid censorship and foul words as much as possible. One of the more popular exceptions to this is the SpongeBob episode where dolphin noises replace dirty words.
You mean...
Another example comes from Ned's Declassified school guide. In the episode Guide to Dares and Bad Habits, each of the characters try to break their bad habits and things got a little too declassified for Mose. Mose has a bad habit of talking trash on the volleyball court, but these aren't your normal playground taunts. While watching a recap of the team's volleyball game, Mose goes on a curse-laden rant conveniently bleeped out by the referee's whistles. Her trash talking was so long and intense, she would have made Conor McGregor blush, not to mention get kicked off the middle school sports team. Well, at least she learned her lesson and stopped her trash talking, right? Nope. As soon as Mo stops trash talking on the court, she loses her focus and does terrible. She ends up taping her mouth shut and screaming expletives through the tape. Great lesson for all those cursing kiddos out there. Bad sportsmanship in a sailor's mouth, all in one episode.
What are we gonna do?
Well, we could stay back here and snoodle.
Victorious goes under the knife. Live-action shows like iCarly and Drake and Josh provided preteen Nick viewers some more mature content, including fun jokes and great role models to look up to. Victorious was another popular entry in the Teen Nick lineup as fans watched characters go to the Hollywood Arts High School. The characters learned to balance friendships, workloads, and the everyday social issues in high school. But one episode gives young girls the completely wrong lesson. In the episode Tori the Zombie, Tori has a hideous mask glued to her face and she cannot get it off. As she tries to figure out a plan, her sister offers to call a plastic surgeon for help. While on the phone, Trina asks about different services and makes a joke about getting a breast augmentation while happily looking down at her chest. Whether it's a joke or not, young girls and teens in high school should not be thinking about plastic surgery at all, let alone breast augmentation. The joke, while quick, makes it seem like changes like that are the norm for the characters, and the show gave really bad lessons on body image. The teens should be celebrated for who they are, not looking for artificial ways to try and improve something that doesn't need to change. Hopefully, Tori's ugly monster mask kept viewers distracted from that moment.
Where are my big boys?
Ren and Stimpy's visual gags. We can only imagine that some young children were traumatized by Ren and Stimpy. The two crazy animals went on some adventures that were absolutely bonkers, made little sense, and featured some of the craziest animation ever seen. There was so much content that pushed the limits of children programming, it was a little hard to pick just one. Guess we'll try to narrow it down to 5 or so. First up, the naked family. That's right. In the episode entitled Big Baby Scam, Ren and Stimpy poses as big babies to move in with a family. The family they chose couldn't be odder. They have a ritual known as Family Bathtub, where everyone gets into the tub naked together. By the end of the episode, Ren and Stimpy are beat up by the real naked babies who are supposed to go to the house. Add in the random naked scenes with some extreme violence. There's violent attacks on characters or the obnoxiously long scene where Ren gets rubbed up against a man's man's nasty stubble over and over and over again. Yuck! Or the time Ren lost all his teeth and had nerve endings hanging out from his gums. The visuals were intense, often uncomfortable to watch, and probably gave children a lot of weird anxiety.
Now you two have fun with your little cousins.
Grandpa Lou is a perv. It's pretty safe to say a majority of the Rugrats is pretty safe for kids. Sure, there's a little potty humor, but nothing that pushes the limits. And sure, the parents would do anything rather than watch their own children, but we wouldn't have the fun adventures without them. The one controversial part of the show comes from Grandpa Lou. Lou is both Tommy and Angelica's grandfather, often chosen to serve as the inept and constantly napping babysitter to the children. In one episode, Grandpa Lou decides to rent some movies for the kids and he gets one of his own. The name of the film? Lonely Space Vixens. By the look of the cover and title, the movie is clearly some type of low-budget adult film. If that's Lou's thing, it's fine, we guess. But the worst part of it all is him showing off the tape to Tommy and Chucky. The innocent babies look on as Lou raises his eyebrows up and down and has a good laugh about the whole thing. Meanwhile, a bunch of children watching at home are asking what Lonely Space Vixens is about and why the women on the cover are barely wearing anything. SpongeBob's prison humor. On the surface, well below the surface, SpongeBob SquarePants seems as innocent as they come. The character has a normal job, enjoys hobbies like catching jellyfish, and could spend the whole day singing while skipping along with his friends. SpongeBob often comes off as pretty naive, but there are obviously some things he knows about that we are completely unaware of. Sometimes he plays things off coyly, when we can tell the character knows more than he is leading on to. The perfect example of this is when SpongeBob uses a classic prison joke with his pet snail, Gary. SpongeBob and Gary are in the bathroom when the yellow guy pulls out 2 bars of soap. He then proceeds to tell Gary how important it is to not drop the soap. SpongeBob then follows up the line with a knowing wink. What happens in the prisons of Bikini Bottom? The joke insinuates something completely inappropriate for children to learn about, and the wink seems like a direct action to any parents watching and getting the joke. Oddly, SpongeBob places the soap towards the ground and his body bends over at the same time, adding more visuals to the clear pun only meant for adults. And there you have it. What do you think was the most controversial moment? Should some of these moments be censored by Nick? Is there anything that we missed? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to Screen Rant on YouTube so you can stay up to date with our awesome videos. The answer to our emoji quiz is... Thanks for watching.